Now, basically, impulse turbine and reaction turbines, the kind of force like impulse means it's a very huge force acting for a small interval of time, and only kinetic energy is responsible, is available for the energy transformation. Okay, only in case of impulse turbines, but however, in case of reaction turbines, kinetic and pressure energy are available for the power transmission. So this is most important in case of impulse and reaction turbo machines. And also this relative velocity, the significance of this we shall see it that VR1 equal to VR2 in case of an impulse turbine, but whereas this is not equal in case of a reaction turbine. VR1 and VR2 stands for the relative velocity at inlet and outlet from the turbine. Okay. Now, in order to understand the basic purpose of any turbo machine is that it has to serve the purpose. If I am talking about only the power generating turbo machines like turbines, what is the significance of this degree of reaction? So the ultimate purpose is to what extent the work output from the turbine can be obtained. On what all parameters it all depends, like entire energy that is available at the inlet to the turbine in the form of velocity. Okay, so this may not be entirely converted into work. So this possible conversion, the how much is the energy that can be converted out of the available energy. So you have something called as the utilization factor. Like all the heat that is being developed in case of an IC engine, entirely it cannot be converted into work. In the similar fashion, the energy that is available with the flowing fluid into the turbo machine is only in the form of the kinetic energy and the pressure energy in case of the reaction turbines. So that entire amount of energy available with the fluid cannot be converted into work. So that only a part of that can be converted into work. So that is being defined or coined by a term known as the utilization factor. How much is the energy available that can be utilized or can be converted into useful work is the utilization factor. Okay, that of course depends on the turbine. So this degree of reaction plays an important role. Important role. We have seen that it is the ratio of the static head and the total head. Static energy transfer and the total energy transfer. So the numerator term static head basically talks about u1 square minus u2 square plus vr2 square minus vr1 square. So this is related to the rotor velocity u1 and u2. Difference in the rotor velocity is at two different radii, but this is the relative velocity. This is the relative velocity vr2 and vr1. So let us understand this significance when we go for the velocity triangles. But these two are the static heads as we have concluded here. Like you can take this for example, this one. Okay. So first term is a dynamic head. The second two terms, half u1 square minus u2 square and half vr1 square and vr2 square, these are the static heads. Static heads. One is related to the the centrifugal energy that is available with the rotor, okay, rotational speed of the rotor. The other one is the kinetic energy, relative velocity. Okay, so this is also the static head. Only this absolute velocity, that is actual velocity of the fluid with which it is entering and which it is leaving, the difference of these two, square of that the difference in the kinetic energies at the inlet and the outlet of the turbine. So this is known as the change in the dynamic head. So based on that, we could define this degree of reaction, that static head divided by total head. This is static head numerator. Total head is summation of dynamic head and the static head. That also we have seen, and after simplification we could arrive. S stands for the numerator term over here and D stands for the half V1 square minus V2 square. Okay. So after simplification we could arrive at this expression like the static head, the dynamic head and the degree of reaction. And this degree of reaction can take a value, right? Can take a value from 0 less than r less than 1. So it may have a positive value or a negative value, or it can be 0. So based on this value of degree of reaction, degree of reaction, the velocity triangle is different and the amount of energy transfer will also be different. So let us understand the significance of this degree of reaction in the subsequent topics. Okay, the value of R is 0 only in case of the impulse turbine, that we have already seen that here for the impulse turbine only the kinetic energy is available. Okay, so for degree of reaction there is no question, like in Pelton wheel the value of R is 0. Okay, now, utilization factor. So all the energy supplied at the inlet of any turbine cannot be converted into useful work. So that is what is being discussed now due to the finite exit velocity. So that means the fluid that is leaving the turbine will also have some velocity. Will also have some velocity. So that if it has a velocity, that means some energy is left out. Some energy is left out. Like in IC engines also, we have seen that the exhaust being let out at a very high temperature, right? The hot exhaust burnt, the exhaust gases come out with a high temperature. That means entire amount of heat cannot be utilized into work. In a similar fashion, the fluid that comes out, maybe steam or the water that comes out of the turbine, will also have some velocity. That means some energy is still associated with the water which cannot be utilized. So that is, that cannot be converted into work. Only a part of the energy available can be converted, and there is some finite exit velocity. There is some finite exit velocity. That means still some energy is associated with the fluid leaving the turbine. So therefore, the ratio of the ideal work to the energy supplied. So what is the energy available at the input of the turbine and how much of it can be converted to work? That work, ideal work divided by the energy supplied is known as utilization factor, denoted by the term epsilon. Okay. This utilization factor may be found from the ideal velocity triangles. So in all turbo machines, you are going to draw the velocity triangles, and let us understand how do you draw it and what is the significance actually. That is the subject matter of turbo machines. And also we have the energy equation E value, right? U1 VU1 minus U2 VU2. Okay. So the other form of the Euler's turbine equation also that can be utilized. The energy available to the rotor, the energy, this is most important. Please try to digest this sentence. The energy available to the rotor is the sum of the absolute kinetic energy at inlet and the energy available due to the pressure drop in the rotor. So what do you mean by this? Like the sum of the absolute energy, that is energy available to the rotor, is in the form of the kinetic energy, okay, and energy available due to the pressure drop in the rotor. So during the passage of the fluid through this rotor, there occurs a pressure drop. So as we can see that you have already seen that in the simulation of the steam turbine, that when the steam is passing through the stator and rotor blades, you can see that there is a continuous drop of the pressure occurring, right? There is a continuous drop of pressure occurring. Whenever there is a drop in pressure, like the stator blades are acting as nozzles, the velocity increases. The velocity increases. When this is leaving the turbine blades at a high velocity, there is a reaction force, and that reaction force will push this, rotor and makes it to rotate. So that is how there is a reaction. Because of this reaction, it is responsible for the rotation. And this pressure drop, if there is a pressure drop occurring, that is converted into kinetic energy. There is an enhancement or increase in the kinetic energy that is useful for the transfer of the force, the kinetic energy being converted into the rotational energy or the mechanical energy. So that is why there is a pressure drop occurring, due to which there is an increase in velocity of the steam. Okay, so these two are most important. Yeah? So this pressure drop is occurring in case of the reaction turbines. So that is why it is said. So like in this example, if you can see, it's only the kinetic energy that is available. That means only V, the value of V is available for the impulse turbine. But whereas here, it is the kinetic energy as well as the pressure energy that is available. So pressure drop is occurring during its passage through the rotor, so which enhances the velocity, and you can see the velocity, there's something called as a compounding. Okay, so when it is passing through the series of stator and the rotor blades, you can see that there's a continuous drop in pressure and there is a drop in velocity, increase in velocity because of the pressure drop, that you can again go through that simulation video. That is how you can see there is a zigzag variation of this velocity. So there is, whenever that kinetic energy is utilized for the conversion into mechanical energy, there is a drop in kinetic energy, there is a drop in velocity. But again, when it is passing through the stator blades, again it increases. Okay, so that must be observed. So that he's talking about this pressure drop happening across the rotor. Okay, happening across the rotor. Now, understanding the basic definition of this utilization factor, so I can write the energy available as half V1 square plus U1 square minus U2 square plus VR2 square minus VR1 square. In the previous class, I asked about it, why there is not in the is not V2 square over here. It's only V1 square. V1 square minus V2 square is not considered here. This is the energy available. But in the energy utilized, you are going to consider this. You are going to consider this. So what could be the reason? Can anyone tell me? Why V2 square is considered as 0 in the first equation? Energy available is equals to in this equation. So why this V1 square, V2 square is not considered over here? Can anyone tell me? Okay, so no problem. Now you can see that this V1 square minus V2 square, this term, okay, this is the end. V1 is the entry velocity, V2 is the exit velocity from the turbine. If this exit velocity is 0, so this is the available energy. V1 is the available energy in the form of kinetic energy. Half V1 square is the kinetic energy available, or this is the inlet velocity. So this is the, when this is the available energy, there is, this is the exit kinetic energy. So that means some energy is left out in the fluid itself, left out in the fluid itself. If this exit velocity is 0, so that means this entire energy is the available energy, because of which there is an exit velocity. The energy that is utilized is only V1 square minus V2 square. Otherwise, it is this complete velocity. This is the energy that is utilized. This is the energy that is utilized. Okay, so that is why this V2, no, V2 is not considered over here, because this is only the energy available, but this is how much it is utilized. V1 square minus V2 square, change in the kinetic energy is the amount of utilization of the kinetic energy for conversion. For conversion, so energy available divided by the energy utilized divided by energy available is the utilization factor by definition. So if I can write this expression one by the other, if you can see this expression, so this is half the V1 square minus V2 square plus U1 square minus U2 square plus VR2 square minus VR1 square divided by half V1 square plus V1 square, U1 square minus U2 square plus VR2 square minus VR1 square. So this is by the definition. Please remember this expression for the utilization factor. This can be further simplified by replacing this with the energy terms. Like I can rewrite this equation something like this. Half in the above equation can be rewritten something like this. So half V1 square minus V2 square plus U1 square minus U2 square plus VR2 square minus VR1 square. And here the same numerator term is written over here, plus half V2 square over here, half V2 square over here. But when you simplify this, you are going to get the same denominator because you are adding and subtracting half V2 square in the denominator term. You are adding and subtracting half V2 square, 1 by 2 V2 square to the denominator term. Here you are subtracting, here you are adding. The net effect is this equation itself. You are adding half V2 square and removing half V2 square, plus and minus. So net effect is the same. So that is why you have written it like this. So that this, what is this half V1 square minus V2 square? This is E value, energy term. This is as per the alternate Euler turbine equation, the alternative form. Another form of defining the Euler turbine equation is this. Okay, this is E. So similarly over here, this is the value of E. So when you are writing, the above term is E, the below term is E. So E divided by E, you are writing over here, plus half V2 square, plus half V2 square. So that is how you could arrive at this equation. Then what is this value of E? U1 VU1 minus U2 VU2. So that you have written plus V2 square by 2. So that is how the utilization factor is given by this equation. U1 VU1 minus U2 VU2 divided by U1 VU1 minus U2 VU2 plus V2 square by 2. So this is the Euler, general form of the Euler turbine equation. This is the energy term. So if you are asked to write an expression for the utilization factor, you are going to write this expression. Okay, define utilization factor. So write an expression or derive an expression for the utilization factor. Then you can write till here. So now by this time you have understood about the definition of degree of reaction, okay, and the utilization factor. Okay. Now, what is the significance of these two terms play an important role in turbo machines, and what is the significance of these terms, and how do they influence or modify the velocity triangles? And even now we have not understood the what do you mean by that velocity triangle so far. But however, in the course of time, let us understand what is the significance of the velocity triangles. Okay. So now this is all about the degree of reaction, the utilization factor. Now let us derive this relation. Like, what is the relationship between degree of reaction and the utilization factor? So sometimes there is a question on the exam in the examination that you're going to define what is degree of reaction and the utilization factor. Show the relationship between degree of reaction and the utilization factor. So this also has been given as an assignment question for you. Okay, and now let us derive. So basically we need to understand, we have understood the degree of reaction. This is an expression for the degree of reaction. U1 square minus U2 square plus VR2 square. By definition, it is half over here. If I can remove these half signs, I can straight away write static head divided by the total head. This is static head divided by the total head. So please remember this V1 square minus V2 square half is the dynamic head, and remaining summation of these two terms U1 square minus U2 square half plus half VR2 square minus VR1 square is the static head, summation of the static heads. So summation of static head and the dynamic head together, it is the total head. That is how we have defined this term. Now what we shall do is we'll write this as 1 by r in the next step. 1 by r. So the denominator goes to the numerator and numerator comes to the denominator when I write it like this. And I can simplify this, like there are two terms. One is the dynamic head and the other one is the summation of the static heads. So I can segregate them, denominator being the same. So I can write it like this: v1 square minus u2 square divided by this term which was there in the numerator plus this numerator term divided by this. Okay, so I have just I have taken this as 1 by r, reciprocal of that, and numerator and denominator interchange, and segregating them with this dividing by the denominator, the two terms I can split them into dynamic and the static head and divide it by like this. Okay, So this is only for the simplification, so that we can arrive at the simplified form of relationship between the utilization factor and the degree of reaction. Okay. Now this gets cancelled on the right hand side. This becomes 1. So then you can write it like this. So and 1 can be transferred on the left hand side. So you can write this as 1 by r minus 1 v1 square minus v2 square divided by u1 square minus u2 square plus vr2 square minus vr1 square. Okay. Now simplify this on the left hand side. This is 1 by r minus 1 is 1 minus r divided by r. So right hand side as it is. Then I can get this v1 square minus v2 square u1 square minus u2 square plus vr2 square minus vr1 square on the left hand side. Transfer this 1 minus r by r on the right hand side. So this becomes r divided by 1 minus r into v1 square minus v2 square. So finally I can write an expression like this. Okay. So I'll call this by equation number 1. It's only the rearrangement of terms that is being done. So you must be able to follow these steps. There should not be any difficulty in understanding how we could arrive at equation number 1, starting from the definition of the degree of reaction. Now I'll call this by equation number 1. Now utilization factor, by definition we know that it is given by this. Okay, utilization factor is u1 square v1 square minus v2 square. This is the energy utilized in the numerator term, and energy utilized in the numerator term and divided by the energy available. So that already we have seen this expression here, the utilization factor, right? We have already written what is energy available and what is energy utilized. The same is being written over here. Okay, the half on other sides I have cancelled it, and I could write utilization factor like this. Now here in this expression we have this equation 1 being expressed u1 square minus u2 square plus vr2 square minus vr1 square. So that is equals to r divided by 1 minus r into v1 square minus v2 square. Substitute that value from equation 1 in this equation epsilon. So substituting that value, so what is the resulting equation is this. Okay. So as you can see, the same value is being substituted. So I could finally arrive at this equation v1 square minus v2 square plus r divided by 1 minus r into v1 square minus v2 square. In the denominator what I have is v1 square, and this term, okay, okay, it is nothing but it is from equation 1 that I have substituted here. Okay, so finally I could write it like this. Then for the simplification of numerator and denominator term, 1 minus r should be multiplied. Okay, so to make this 1 minus r as the denominator, so I can write this as 1 minus r into v1 square minus v2 square, 1 minus r plus this r into v1 square minus v2 square. Together it is divided by 1 minus r. Similarly for the denominator term, this denominator term, if you can see, so the simplification of this is 1 minus r v1 square plus r into v1 square minus v2 square. Denominator is common for this 1 minus r. So both denominators gets cancelled in the numerator and denominator. And you can multiply this, simplify this by multiplying it with 1 minus r v1 square minus v2 square. So you'll get 4 terms for this and another 2 terms. So altogether 6 terms in the numerator. And here also you will get around 4 terms. And cancelling these minus r v1 square. So here also you have minus plus r v1 square plus r v2 square minus r v2 square in the numerator gets cancelled. What remains is only v1 square minus v2 square. Similarly in the denominator, this r gets cancelled. Okay, So V1 square minus R V2 square you are going to get. So this is the relationship between, final relationship between the utilization factor and the degree of reaction. The steps, if you follow, these are very pretty simple steps to understand. There's no much complication. Okay. So that is the relationship between the epsilon and the degree of reaction R. So in case, because as I told you, so the questions, possible questions would be define degree of reaction, okay, and write an expression for it. Utilization factor, write an expression for this, and then show the relationship between degree of reaction and the utilization factor. Okay, so at any point of time, by definition, how these are given by the terms, so you must remember them. You must remember them. Okay, so I think this should not be that difficult for you to understand. This is the relationship. Okay, so in case you have any doubts, because the notes have already been given, so before attending the class, you might have gone through these notes also, and now I think it is very much clear to you. In case you have any doubts, so please let me know. I'm going very slowly over here because in the subjects like this, numerical based subjects, I must go very slowly. Any doubts? If you have any doubts, you can please ask me now. It's only the derivation. You should go through this derivation, understand the definition. That is more than sufficient right now. The significance of these terms, we shall see them later. Any doubts you have, or shall I proceed with the next topic? You can ask me if in case you have any doubts. Any doubts you have? Or shall we proceed with the next topic? Any doubts?